Father Ken Barker from the Missionaries of God's Love. Just wanted today to share something about the importance of knowing the love of God as Father. Many of us have had rather deficient fathering as we've been growing up. It's made it difficult for us to image God as a loving Father unconditionally given for us. Not that long ago, there was a survey made in Australia of the experience that young people have with fathers. And some of them experience their fathers as being a tyrant, really tough and always difficult to deal with at home. Others, like a father who's really critical, putting down, never saying anything very affirming. Others experience their father like as a couch potato, just lying around and doing nothing, and mum is doing all the work type of thing. But many experience their father as just simply absent all the time at work or at the club or whatever, but not present to his family. Now, of course, that's a very negative presentation of fathers, and I'm sure we're all really learning to become fathers more in the society. But as I work with young people especially, I do find they have a struggle so often with being able to image God as a father because of deficiencies in the way they themselves were fathered. And that was true about myself too. My own dad was a very good man, but I know he favoured my brothers over me. And so that made me feel second best in his eyes. And at times he would ridicule me and put me down because I was a bit of a crybaby kid. And so he'd put a finger up like that and say, "Cry, Ken," and I'd cry. And that would make everyone around laugh. And it would sort of make me very embarrassed. And then sometimes when my little brother was, playing up, and I'd sort of try to do something to him. One time I even pricked him with one of those sharp-pointed compasses, and he pricked him in the backside, and he started screaming. Went to Dad and told Dad, "Oh, look, Ken stuck this compass up my backside." And so, of course, Dad came out, no questions, because my little brother was his favourite. And he just grabbed hold of me and he shoved the compass right up my backside. And I can still feel the pain of it right there. I had that sort of inside of me, those memories of my dad. My dad died when I was 21. And I remember as he was slipping away from the cancer, and I held onto his hand, but it was too late. Too late to say the things I needed to say. Too late to bring the words of forgiveness. Too late to talk to him as I needed to talk to him. He was gone. And I wept. I wept at the funeral, but I wept for what I didn't have. I wept for the loss that was in me. But of course, you bury these things in life, don't you? And that's what happened to me. I buried it in my life. I had a resentment towards my dad, and I had a loss inside of me, a love deprivation that made it difficult for me to relate to God as Father because of that. But then, when I received a new infusion of the Holy Spirit some years ago, it opened up my heart in a new way. So I began to experience God as Father. I'd never experienced the tender embrace of my dad, but now I actually experience the embrace of God the Father. I experience his tender love for me. There's a Psalm 40, which says, I waited for the Lord, and he heard my cry. He reached down to me and lifted me up out of the miry clay, and set my feet on firm ground. So I experienced God the Father lifting me up and holding me. And I experienced a new tenderness in that. And it also brought me to be able to forgive my earthly dad. And as I brought that forgiveness and went through the healing process with him, even though he has gone to the Lord, I was able to bring that forgiveness. And that opened my heart up more to be able to know God as Father. And there was a text from Hosea that was so beautiful in those days for me, Hosea 11, where it simply says that, we're talking about Israel, that I was like God says, I was like a father, reaching down and lifting the child up against, and holding the child against his cheek. And the only time I'd experienced my earthly dad holding me against his cheek was when he was drunk, and I didn't like the smell of alcohol, and so I'd push him away. But this was different. God the Father was restoring to me the love that I felt that I had a deficiency of, a fatherly love. And it made it so important for me then to be able to experience what Jesus experiences, God as Father. That's why Jesus came. And he wants you too to be able to experience God as Father. And Jesus will be wanting to do that and bring that healing to your heart as well. Are you open to that healing?